Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your usual host, Joe Scornbrace, and I'm joined here by Tony Tonesy.
Hey, that's me.
We're here to talk about Blizzcon and everything in between. Because it's been BlizzCon this week, and there's been so many announcements this week.
We've done it every year for the last times we've done this, I think.
Yeah, we've done both BlizzCons on the podcast, I think.
Yes, this is the third one.
Maybe.
Don't quote me on that. I think this is the third one.
I think it's the second one, actually.
Is it?
I think you're insane.
Maybe I am insane.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is the third one.
Okay, so let's go on to the first topic, which is, of course, everyone's favourite game. Starcraft 2.
It's my favourite game.
Is it?
It's pretty good.
Okay, let me get my notes up for us. So, Starcraft 2 is going free to play in November 15th. What's the date today, actually? Let me check. It's the 12th, so in 3 days from this podcast recording date.
Which is a Sunday.
We do try and record every Sunday. Yeah.
Apart from when I need to bake a cake.
Yeah. Oh, can I show pictures of your cake?
Yeah,
actually?
yeah.
I haven't set this up, but shit.
Going off the rails already.
I'll have to edit them in.
Okay.
Because I don't have them on hand. Unless I can find them in my history by typing in. Is there a way to just look up Discord pictures? You know Discord URLs have like
they have Discord in their name or something.
I don't... Okay, fuck it.
Later.
Yeah.
Edit it, man.
I'll put pictures of Toby's cake on the outro slide.
Yeah.
If you're interested. It was a Halloween cake. She was born very close to Halloween.
Yeah.
Anyway, so StarCraft 2 is going free to play November 15th, and you also get Wings of Liberty. So originally StarCraft 2 had the arcade version of it go free to play, where you could play all the different mini games. But now
the workshop stuff, basically.
Yeah, so now the full game is going free to play as well, and you get Wings of Liberty, the add-on. And if you own Wings of Liberty as well, you also get Heart of the Swarm. So if there's people out there who are going, I own StarCraft 2, what am I getting from this? If you don't own Heart of the Swarm,
you get bumped up one.
You get bumped up an extra expansion pack.
If you own all of them, then you just get to play everything early. You don't get anything extra, I guess.
So I think this is a good idea. They just made Brood War remastered.
That was free as well, wasn't it? Or did you had to own the original?
No, you have to buy that, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, you're interested in StarCraft 2, aren't you, Tony?
Yeah, I'm very interested in StarCraft 2.
And you own it on a randombattle.net account.
Yeah, I own it. I still have the disc. I don't know how to log into my Battle.net account.
Do you have an optical drive?
Yes.
So you can put the disc in your disc drive?
I can put it in the drive, but that would be completely useless unless I want to install it.
Because I don't have a disc drive.
I know you don't have a disc drive. I want a Blu-ray drive because I want to watch my Lord of the Rings stuff on my PC.
Because I was like, when I was building my PC, I was like, I'm gonna need a Blu-ray drive, and then I realized how I never use discs ever.
I don't use this that often, but when I want to, it's really useful.
But the thing with I
like watching films I have
Blu-ray or 4K is you can now do 4K streaming on Netflix.
No, I can't.
With an extra pass.
No, I can't.
What do you mean? No, you can't.
I cannot stream that high quality from Netflix with my internet.
Are you saying your internet's too shit?
Sometimes it can. And sometimes the bandwidth just goes completely ham.
I will mention
that nothing.
I think some 4K experts / snobs will say that 4K streaming is very...
Linus?
No, Linus isn't a 4K snob.
Sorry.
It's but people say that 4K streaming is different to a 4K disc.
Well, it is. Linus will tell you that.
But it's
But I don't care.
You can see the difference. But to layman's, I think 4K streaming will look the same.
Can I just say, I'm completely okay with 1080p. I don't personally want anything higher.
I've never experienced a 4K system. No. I've never seen a 4K television, so I have no idea what it looks like.
I can see refresh rates and I can see frame rates.
Yeah.
Looking at your screen's at 1080p, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the pixels on this. I don't see any need to make them smaller.
I think for computer screens, you usually just want 1080p and then you want a higher refresh rate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because mine are 60 hertz.
Yeah, mine's only 60 hertz and I can see that. It annoys me.
but I think you would want like 120 or 144.
Yeah. If I had the money, I would get 120.
We're talking about StarCraft 2.
Look, frame rate is important for RTS games.
I can show you this free-to-play overview video.
Oh my god.
Whatever this
Can I just
is.
say I hate this video?
Why?
I hate the voice.
He does all the Heroes of the Storm videos as well.
It works for Heroes of the Storm. I don't think it works for StarCraft 2.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
If you've missed the epic sci-fi
I don't like it.
storylines
It
or
just seems...
wanted to take a dip
We
into
need
the
transformative
competitive ladder,
content.
Sorry, yeah.
Let's hit the ground running.
Every time.
We have to get this up so we don't get sued by like Blizzard for showing their trailers.
I don't think Blizzard sues people for trailers.
They're not Nintendo, but we wouldn't ever dare put a Nintendo trailer up.
Not anymore, no.
No. We've got copyright strikes
Well,
no
this
matter every single time that we put a Nintendo trailer up.
We are stupid enough to forget that it's Nintendo sometimes.
Even if you put like an image up, it's kind of iffy. It's like crazy.
This brings back memories though. I remember complaining
It's
that the
a
campaign...
bad damn time.
With the Wings of Liberty campaign, where you'll play as Space Marshal.
See, I always played Warcraft 3, but I never played Starcraft.
Right. I really like Star. I never played Brood War like the first one, but I really like Starcraft 2. And I watched its development for like when it was like announced. Because like I love like I was quite young when it was like announced, but I liked sci-fi stuff, so I was just looking for sci-fi games. And like this came up, and like the Protoss look really cool.
The Ravenous Zerg, or the Exalted Protoss.
Wait, what?
And build your
But I think by the time StarCraft 2 came out, I think I'd already moved on from Warcraft 3 to MOBAs. So because I didn't actually like the RTS genre because I wanted to control one character. So by this point I've moved on to League of Legends and I'd moved on to World of Warcraft by this point. So by the time StarCraft came out, I was not interested in the RTS genre basically.
I still really like RTSs. I'm just really bad at them.
Yeah, I think most people are really bad at them. The non-Koreans out there.
But yeah, I like Martius is where it's more macro. I'm really good at because it's like SimCity. Like there's like the saying of like it's like you SimCity are.
See,
I'm very good at that.
I hate micromanagement.
Yeah, I don't like micromanagement either. I'm very good at the city building. What the fuck is that?
It's Diablo.
What? It's fucking what? What is
They're
this?
adding new co-op missions.
Okay,
So.
I have seen some of the new co-op missions they've added. They actually look really cool because you can like choose like your commander like character.
That's like the new content they're
Azeroth.
adding to StarCraft 2 is they're adding more co-op missions for people.
Yeah, I do actually really like that.
All commanders
Oh my
are
God.
free to play to level 5, and we've even unlocked Raynor, Kerrigan,
Raynor?
and Artanis.
Artanis? I don't care about Artanis.
I like Artanis.
Do you?
There's no
Yeah.
better time for new players to
The only reason I know any of the StarCraft heroes is because I've played them in Heroes of the Storm.
I don't really remember Artanis, I'll be honest with you.
play. Don't forget to
Oh.
check out our website for information.
But no, this is
or
really-
follow us
I-
on our
yeah.
web to stay
I can finally play
wait,
StarCraft
I think
2 again.
Artanis,
updates.
he like
Couldn't be
switches
more
with
excited for
people.
the next chapter of
in
the
Heroes of the
StarCraft
Storm.
2 experience.
What?
He like fires himself at people and then switches places with him.
Okay.
He's really weird.
I don't.
Like Zeratil's like a stealth guy.
Yeah, I really like Zeratil.
Tassadar's like he has Archon and he goes into this giant form where
Yeah.
he shoots lightning at people.
I really like. If I was to choose like Reyna, Kerrigan, and like Zeratil, like for each race is my pick, personally.
Oh, I really like Tychus though. Tychus is really cool.
Yeah, but he's a Turncloak.
Like his story of him like being imprisoned in his suit is really
Yeah.
cool.
But he's a complete knob.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's the bad guy for sure.
Well, you can access like the co-op now in StarCraft 2 for free.
Up to
You
level
can-
5, they just said in the video, right?
The Wings of Liberty, you can access ranked, so there's going to be a bunch of noobs getting destroyed by people on the ranked
That's
ladder.
always good.
Yeah.
Well, even though I'd be a noob. But sure. That's still good, right?
Anyway, shall we move on to the main topic of the podcast?
The one you want to talk about.
Because we're not talking... I've pretty much cut out all the news topics in what we've been playing and everything, because I think BlizzCon is going to cover most of what we're talking about for the next an hour and a half to 2 hours, based on how long the podcast is.
Yeah. I mean, we've done 10 minutes on StarCraft, so...
Actually, I was talking to my dad the other day, and he asked me how long the podcast was, and I said it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and he said, you should edit that down. I was like, there's no way I'm going to edit that down and
We
fit that into like half an hour or something.
We tangerine too much.
Okay,
That's a
so
problem.
if you didn't see BlizzCon, this is the trailer for World of Warcraft Classic. And I'll show this to you because this is pretty much all we have to go on, basically. So if you don't know, this is Chromie, and she is a bronze dragon, which in World of Warcraft is the Dragon of Time, basically. And you play throughout their stuff through the Caverns of Time, and there's people trying to go back in time and basically destroy the history of the good guys winning and stuff like that, because the Warbirds of Darnassus bullshit, where it's an alternative universe version of Gul'dan that they bring, and he tries to destroy the world.
It makes perfect sense, Jay.
Story's kind of bullshit sometimes, but I'm really excited for classic servers. This is going to be so cool. I'm so excited. When I saw this at BlizzCon, I was messaging Tony. I was like, screaming. I was like, there's no way they're going to announce legacy servers at BlizzCon. I was pretty much 100% sure there was no way they would ever really announce legacy servers. I was sure Blizzard was never going to do it. And I was like, and if they were, it wouldn't be this BlizzCon. There's no way, because there was so much animosity last year.
Yeah.
Where basically, do I have an image? Oh, okay. We don't need to see that yet. I'll try and get a photo.
Yeah, so if those who missed last year's podcast episode where we actually did talk about this.
Where's images?
It's in more than
What?
images.
Why do I have to click on more to get images? Isn't
Because
it a default
fuck you,
picture?
Joe.
Yeah, what are you saying?
I can't remember what I was saying. I was trying to think. Oh yeah, we talked about this in the last year's podcast with Australia's closing down, and I always
talked
pronounced that always wrong.
We've talked about Nost. We've talked about Gummy's server being shut down.
Yeah.
The Burning Crusade one. We've talked about a lot of private server stuff. But we thought we did, but we didn't.
Yeah, that the age-old meme of you think you do, but you don't.
Well, let's get an image of Ironforge down so we can talk about this.
This is the last day of.
I think when they were shutting down Australia, everyone was protesting against it and shouting and yelling, "You think you do, but you don't," and showing how many people were alive on the server in Ironforge and stuff, which is really cool. But basically, they just showed the trailer. There was no information at the WoW panel, and it was pretty much just the trailer. So
They haven't seen any.
what we're assuming from this is that classic servers have not even started development yet.
No.
We're assuming, based on the fact that we've seen job listings on the World of Warcraft website for new devs and designers for World of Warcraft Classic, that they're going to build this from the ground up.
So do you think this is more almost like a PR thing to try and get the people who really care about it to know about the jobs?
Yeah, I wouldn't be... So, speculation, I would not be surprised if Nostralis shut down their server because Blizzard told them classic servers were coming.
We did speculate that maybe they know... Like one of the options was maybe
because
they knew
originally
that
Nostralis wanted to carry on their server data, so they handed over the data to Elysium, which was the kind of the spiritual successor to Nostralis. And then after a certain point, Nostralis turned around and said, we're going to stop authenticating tokens to move people's characters from Nostralis to Elysium, and we don't want people to use private servers, and they wouldn't go into any detail about what had been said to them. And basically they just said, we believe in Blizzard legacy servers, and we think they're going to come one day, and we think private servers are a really bad thing because I think Blizzard aren't going to want to make legacy servers if there's so many private servers.
Yeah, but I personally think even if they're making them, like, they're still fine up to the point where legacy servers actually come about.
So there's kind of... People are kind of playing private servers more now, and some people have stopped. So some people have stopped since the announcement because they're going, well, I can finally play it legally on the Blizzard servers.
But not yet.
Some people have been going, I want to practice on vanilla on like the old code, like playing on Light's Hope. Because what we talked about Elysium, I think, even, because what happened on Elysium was there were devs who were selling pre-made characters, selling gold to people, and then banning people after they got sold gold, which was kind of ridiculous. I think the main server now, private server at the moment, is Light's Hope, where they've moved the characters over from Elysium.
Oh, okay, right.
And that's the main server people are playing on, and hasn't been corrupted yet. But that's the thing with private servers, is you're never going to have, you're never going to be able to trust someone who's running the server, because they handed the Nostralis handed over the server to Elysium, who were the Russian guys.
Yeah.
And we had some devs inside there that was selling gold and selling characters, and there was a lot of corruption in there.
Yeah.
So
at least you know legacy, actual proper legacy servers. That
so I'm definitely not.
corruption.
I'm not going to play on a private server until Legacy comes out, because I think this is a good show of faith from Blizzard.
Yeah.
And I think as long as it is 100% vanilla, I think people are going to enjoy this. So they did announce at BlizzCon, the only real thing they announced was they want to keep it 100% vanilla.
They actually said that.
And they said there's a separate dev team working on Classic WoW. So there's a dev team for the new World of Warcraft, and there's going to be a separate dev team for World of Warcraft Classic. So World of Warcraft Classic isn't taking anything away from Battle for Azeroth, and Battle for Azeroth isn't taking anything away from the development of Classic WoW, basically.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. They did say that they sold those giant data cube things that kept all of the World of Warcraft servers, because they auctioned them away ages ago, and it had all the code on it for the original World of Warcraft servers, and they said they might need those back so that they can
Please
make
can we have them back?
vanilla again.
Okay. So that's what they mean when they don't have the technology. They sold the Allspark.
What they said they're going to do, they said that they were going to take the original game, so we're assuming 1.12 is going to be the patch it's on and the client, but they're going to take basically the game and they're going to put it on the new infrastructure of Blizzard servers.
Yeah, okay.
In some way. Now, lots of people are very worried about updating Vanilla WoW, because everybody wants it to be 100% how it was. Because there's a lot of camps of people who want small changes, and a lot of camp people who do not want a single change whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I understand they don't want a single change, but I feel like they're going to have to make changes.
So I think the thing that is going, I think the thing that is going to happen that most people are okay with, I think there's going to be Battle.net integration into the game. So originally you did not have the Battle.net showing people playing World of Warcraft. You didn't have Real ID. You just had your friends list, and you had to add characters.
It's like a separate thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people really like this, and they don't want Battle.net. But I think that is going to be added. Some people are saying Blizzard shouldn't bug fix anything. Now, the problem with that is there's actually game-breaking bugs in vanilla that actually destroy the game.
Also, there's like avenues for cheaters as well. So
I think most people are okay with Battle.net integration, and I think most people are okay with game-breaking bugs being fixed. But I think on the most part, they want them to 100% leave the original source code alone, and not make any improvement. Because some people want quality of life improvements.
Well, like the
Because if you think about the stuff that you can do in like Legion WoW compared to what you can do in Vanilla WoW, it's kind of crazy. Like, there was a hot button topic recently, was that Sodapop, in a World of Warcraft streamer, said, what if they decided to add like AoE looting? So in the new World of Warcraft, when all of the mobs you AoE farm, all of the mobs die, you click on one, and all of the loot of the mobs is in a single mob, and it auto loots it all. Yeah. But in Vanilla WoW, what would happen was you'd have to individually loot every single corpse.
I remember
and click
that.
on every single item, and people were saying like this could actually destroy the economy, because mages with improved Blizzard could AoE farm mobs to make gold, and if they were able to like super easily do this, this would inflate the economy, because there'd be so many more people AoE farming, sort of stuff. So that's a really interesting point, that how this tiny quality of life change that doesn't seem like it would affect too many people would actually have a huge implication on the entire classic WoW server.
I'd be interested if that would actually work, like if that would actually like make it bad.
Because I'm somebody personally, who isn't the biggest fan of vanilla World of Warcraft, my favourite expansion was Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
So if Blizzard came along and they said, we're making quality of life changes to vanilla, I'm someone who would not be too upset about that. But I also understand there's people out there that would be. So I would want it to be the best it can be for the people who enjoyed the game back then. I don't want the game to be built around me. I don't think it ever should. I think it should be built around the people who are incredibly passionate about having 100% vanilla World of Warcraft, and the people who are playing this, 100 hours back in 2004, playing this 100 hours on private servers, balance around these people because they know so much more about the game than I could ever tell you.
Yeah.
And they should...
they know all the ins and outs. They know what they want.
Now, one thing I was thinking about this was, I don't think they would do it, but it would be kind of interesting if they made Classic WoW 100% vanilla, fix game-breaking bugs, not touch anything else.
Yeah.
And they had an experimental Classic WoW server where they added quality of life improvements.
See what damage it did.
They could slowly put experimental changes into this completely different server that didn't affect the normal Classic WoW server, and they could put in changes like AoE looting. They could put flight paths that connect to each other, because in the vanilla WoW, when you went on a flight path, you'd have to go from one flight path to the other, click on another flight path to another, click on another flight path to another. So if you wanted to fly across the world, you couldn't just go AFK on the flight path and just fly across the world. You'd have to individually click each one. Maybe people want a experimental server where they have updated models, where you still have the core gameplay of vanilla WoW, where you have the models from Warlords of Draenor, for example. I know there's private servers that exist, like I think Warmane. They allow you to have the updated Warlords of Draenor models, but you can play it on their Wrath of the Lich King server, for example, which is kind of interesting.
Is that more of a client-side option then?
It's an option that you can have.
Yeah.
So, say for example, in the experimental classic vanilla server, you can have the option to have updated models, or you can have the option to have the authentic normal models.
Yeah, that like a tip box in the options or something. Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting how at the moment, nobody knows anything, and very little changes are going to completely change people's opinion on classic servers or Blizzard as a whole, and how it's going to affect the overall game.
I think at the moment, lots of people are really happy that it even exists.
Lots of people are happy it's existing,
but also worried that it could change.
Also, at the moment, people are debating over which even patch it should be on. Some people want it to be put on the first patch, and then slowly moved up to each different patch.
Okay.
But the way most private servers do it is they just have it on the most stable patch and they keep it on there and unlock content. And then we don't even know how many classic servers there are going to be. So at the moment, we're assuming it is vanilla WoW. They were talking about, everyone's favorite flavor of ice cream, vanilla. So we could assume from the announcement they're going to be working on vanilla WoW. But are they going to add the Burning Crusade? Are they going to add Wrath of the Lich King?
They did go through every single cinematic.
Yeah. But the thing is, where do they stop then? Are they going to make legacy servers for Pandaria? Are they going to make legacy servers for Cataclysm? Are they going to make legacy servers for Warlords of Draenor?
If it's economically viable.
Are they going to make it a progressive server? Is this server always going to be vanilla? Or is it going to progress slowly? So you play through vanilla, and then after a couple of years maybe, or a year even, it then progresses on to the Burning Crusade. Yeah. And then what happens to people's characters there that don't want to progress? Okay. Do they get put into a separate holding server, or are they forced to progress onto the next server? Do they start another vanilla server?
Like when you if you progress to one, then you instantly create a new one, and you give the option to carry on or go back to.
You could have the idea of Diablo style seasons, where each season is a new expansion or stuff like that. There's a lot to talk about and the great thing about this now is that the people like me that are really passionate about World of Warcraft are going to be even more passionate. There's going to be way more discussion. What should we have in these servers? Should there be changes? What do we want from the server? How long is this going to take? What's the time frame? What expansions are we going to do? Are we just going to have the original 3? Are they going to be progressive? There's a lot of questions that I want to ask and I don't know the answer to. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to say about legacy servers, or classic servers as they're now known. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what PvP was like in vanilla,
the greatest
in this funny video that I found.
The greatest video on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
Have problems against rogues. I don't know why you're complaining. Warlocks aren't supposed to be rogues. PvP is based on rock, paper, scissors.
Ah, let me see if I understand. Rogues are scissors.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Warriors
That makes
are rock.
sense.
Hunters, paladins, priests, druids, mages, and shamans are paper. Warlocks are
It
mushrooms.
all makes sense.
Paper beats rock. Scissors beat paper. Scissors also happen to beat rock. Until rock hits 60, at which point rock becomes an unstoppable killing machine, and then also beats paper. And wood beats scissors, but it can't find scissors, because scissors are invisible. So scissors beat paper and avoid rock, and that is called balance.
And that is called balance.
What happened to the mushroom?
Warlocks are irrelevant.
Okay. So.
Actually, Warlocks are really important in vanilla World of Warcraft because you need someone to summon you to the raid.
Ah.
And then you need somebody to press Shadow Bolt over and over again.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not so... The thing is, I think a lot of people forget about vanilla WoW is how boring the combat was back then. How,
Yeah, but some people like...
A lot of the classes were like... Warlocks, like, are completely useless. They're only there to summon people, and then they just cast Shadow Bolt over and over again as their rotation.
I don't have any experience with like Burning Crusade or like vanilla, but I started playing like the trials with Wrath of the Lich King, and that was quite fun. So I don't know anything about what was boring and what was not boring in.
I mean, this is definitely something I've wanted for a while, which is classic servers.
Yeah,
I think this is really good for people who want it, but we'll have to see how this turns out. We need to see what Blizzard is going to do, and are people really interested in playing vanilla servers?
Are people going to pay for it?
The biggest thing that I was going to say,
they're going to have to pay for development.
Is there going to be a separate sub for Classic WoW, or are they going to bundle the sub in with Battle for Azeroth? Because I think people will play Battle for Azeroth, and then when there's a slow period and the new expansion, they will go back and play vanilla WoW, and they'll switch between the two.
They have a separate one, like they have like a minor one, which only gives you access to Legacy. Then like the normal main one will give you access to the new content, and then also
that is an interesting idea. I didn't think about that. That would be good.
It's like a tiered system then.
Yeah,
but it depends. Like if it takes a lot of time to develop this, then they probably won't.
I think there's a lot of crossover in the community between people who want to play the new expansion and people who want to play the classic WoW. So I think it's a really good idea to just put them onto one sub. I think you'll get a lot more players that way. I think you're going to be splitting up a lot of people, though, if you put them on two separate subs, because I don't think people can afford that.
I think that's what I think. Like, if you do the tier system of like everyone who has a normal sub can play the previous sub, and if people don't want to do the new content, they can just play the slightly cheaper, only legacy stuff sub. And then you won't split anyone up then.
Move on to the big announcement. Well, I would say Classic is probably the big expansion. Nobody was expecting that.
No.
Everyone was expecting the new World of Warcraft expansion. But I say big is in terms of actual information we have. We have zero information on Classic WoW. Everything I talked about was almost all speculation.
Well, it's almost the community news, not actually from Blizzard. It's like what people are concerned with.
Almost everything I talked about was speculation, except we know for sure there's a separate dev team. It's going to come out at some point because they announced it.
It's going to come out at some point.
And we assume it's vanilla, but we don't know.
They played the vanilla cinematic in the correct order. They
went all the way back to vanilla.
Yeah.
So we'll have... This is the new cinematic for Battle of Azeroth, so watch this quickly with you guys.
My father once told me that peace was like a dream.
I was
beautiful,
told that once as well.
Ephemeral, unattainable.
So the really interesting thing about this expansion is that it's not about defeating an end boss almost. It's about the conflict between the Alliance and the Horde.
Yeah, I think that's more interesting, I think. Like actual diplomatic and politics.
just waiting.
The most interesting thing is I think the Alliance is taking over the entire Eastern Kingdom, and the Horde's going to take over the entire of Kalimdor, which is really cool.
It's a bit crazy, isn't it?
It looks really good.
As the Alliance returns to Forgotten Kingdoms, the Horde
those islands
seeks
were always
the
there,
might
right?
of an
Yeah. Hang on.
Just like the changes in the map is what always gets me in like these things.
I'm trying to find the shitpost picture. Someone made like a shitpost. Oh, here we go. Azeroth map in 20 years.
Return of the Lich King, no.
If this carries on from Legion, oh, yeah, there we go. Right, let's get back.
Oh, this is what I'm talking about.
So this is I think this is a character from Hearthstone that they've actually moved over to World of Warcraft, because I've got an image for you. So this is the Hearthstone card called Sky Captain Crag. I'll just grab an image. So this is the Hearthstone card Sky Captain Crag. And it looks exactly like this Parrot Orc in Pirate Orc with a parrot mount, which I really want to get if it's available. But he looks exactly like him, which is cool.
Well, I'm all for more pirates. So
I know there's lots of boats in this expansion and islands, so there's gonna be pirates.
that's true. I didn't think of that.
That's the new Jaina model, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
The time has come to call on allies willing to join the fight, to rally beneath the banners.
It does seem like
At war.
yeah, those are real items.
And she just said the name of the expansion, World of Warcraft World at War. That was the name.
World at War.
It's World of Warcraft Call of Duty World at War.
That
was the name. This
one.
is the shit post, basically. If I can. This is what the Azeroth map will look like in 20 years.
More frozen isles. Is that
As-
what it says? What's that say?
Because
it
it was like Kalimdor in the Eastern Kingdom, and also there's Northrend up here. Oh, Pandaria was hidden here. By the way, the Broken Isles were here. The more Broken Isles. Like, they're just going to keep adding loads more shit to the map over the years.
I can only hope that's what they keep doing.
Yeah.
Or new planets, just rather than like they throw new islands into the ocean. That's what I want.
Yeah. But yeah. That trailer looks really cool. So I'm going to talk about everything they announced at BlizzCon. Should I show you about the cinematic
Wait,
trailer?
just put it in the background and we can talk about the other stuff.
With the sound off, or...
Yeah. You have to watch it. Yes, it's a good... This one is a good one.
Okay.
But it's a cinematic trailer, right? Like, it's not the...
No, I'll put the sound on.
You want the sound on?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We need to see it.
You want to
It's
be
a
that
good
loud.
trailer.
It is a good trailer, but we want to keep going with the news.
Well, I want to show the cinematic because this
Okay.
kind of goes into what's happening in Azeroth. So this is Undercity, I believe. And what's happening in the Eastern Kingdom is the Alliance is taking back the entire Eastern Kingdom. They're attacking the Undercity. Now the idea is that they've gone to war because the Horde has burned down the Night Elf area. There's a giant, there's a giant tree, and the Night Elf, the Horde has burned it down. But also, Lordaeron is being attacked. Nobody knows who made the first strike.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of a mystery onto who started this big war, or who, it's kind of like Han Solo who shot first, basically.
Yeah.
But now this is the Alliance attacking the undead Lordaeron, which is previously a human place that was overtaken by the undead. I think that's Seraphon, I think.
I don't know many of these characters, but I know some of them.
That's Orc, man.
No, Orkman.
He's been shot. You know Sylvanas.
Yeah, I know Sylvanas.
She goes really cool in this trailer.
Yeah, I know you don't like Sylvanas.
I hate Sylvanas.
I
She's
actually
such
like
a bad
Sylvanas.
character.
No, I like Sylvanas because she's a bad character.
I don't mean bad as in poorly designed.
No.
She's very evil.
Yeah, I like that as a character. She's very selfish.
Yeah, she's incredibly.
I quite like that as a character trait. But it's like I feel like she's like less selfish now.
They're actually pushing Anduin to be more of a leader of the Alliance. But I still think Gen should be the leader of the Alliance.
You think?
I feel like he'd be a better leader, especially in a war against Sylvanas. They're trying to get this idea of Horde, being Horde, and if you're an Alliance player, you love the Alliance, and you're going to shout for the Alliance. But nobody actually does, because it's really cringy.
It's cool story-wise, but yeah, the players won't do it, right?
Yeah. It's really weird, because Anduin's a priest, but he has his dad's sword, who's a warrior.
Yeah.
So now he's like this battle priest, almost. There's Gen.
Darth Sidious came in.
But like Gen's like story is really tragic of how like Sylvanas just like murders all of his sons basically.
Okay. It seems to be like going back to more of like when the Horde was there against each other's throats.
But all of the expansions so far have been like Pandaria and Draenor and Legions, like, let's work together to destroy a common enemy.
Yeah.
And it's all about them kind of almost working together, but now it's like, alright, you burned down a tree, you attacked Undercity, let's fucking go to war, let's get ham.
Just like Avatar all over again.
I don't know if he's casting like a heal or something, or if he's like rezzing them, or are they just saluting?
I don't know, I think he's just giving them more power, I have no idea. They also have a huge shield. All I know is it looks cool, Joe.
Yeah.
That's all I know. Stand as one. Maybe just heal them, because a lot of them just look like on the ground. Wounded.
For the Alliance!
To be fair, having a leader that's a really good mass healer is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not very cool though, is it?
No, I disagree.
I mean, you can have can have a really cool healer because the Draenei leader has a healer called Velen, and he's really cool.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean. Like you want like I personally go towards like the Darth Sidious, just ultimate power characters.
But you want like a.
But
the problem is throughout the years they've set up like Anduin as this very young, naive person, and he's like kind of like this.
He does seem naive still.
You know Merlin, the TV show.
Yeah.
You know like Arthur.
Yeah.
It's like he's like this really young guy. He's a bit over his head. Doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, but like in the Merlin show, he's like trying to like because like in the talks, Arthur's quite wiser when he's older, so he's kind of saying like the story of how he became that. I guess are they not set that properly for this guy?
Well, he kind of just went away and became a priest. And then they were like, your dad's dead, but he wants you to rule the Horde. And Anduin's like, okay.
Makes sense.
And he got his sword, which is pretty cool.
It's a cool sword.
Anyway. So, the biggest announcement is there's now sub-races, or as they were speculated to be called sub-races, they've been data mined from the files, they're actually called allied races.
Okay.
So the allied races are, we have the High Mountain Tauren for the Horde, we have the Lightforged Draenei for the Alliance, we have the Nightborn for the Horde, and we have Void Elves for the Alliance. And also, at the end of your factions campaign, you're going to get the opportunity to recruit a allied race to your faction. So the Horde is going to recruit Zandalari Trolls, and the Alliance is going to recruit Dark Iron Dwarfs, which is really cool. I personally think that the new updated models of the Dark Iron Dwarfs looks really cool. They're like one of the first ever enemies you see. These are the guys inside Blackrock Foundry, inside Blackrock Mountain and Vanilla.
I personally really like the trolls. I've never been a big fan of the trolls, and I'd like to be like Toad Biscuit, like being a troll. But These are like the first lot of trolls that I like the look of.
One of the bigger announcement is with the new allied races is now trolls and orcs can go to the barber and they can stand upright now.
Oh my god!
So like the update, the thrall model, he's actually standing up properly.
Okay.
Now when you play orcs and trolls and their backs are like hunched over, you can now stand up properly as well.
Wow.
Because the Zandalari troll actually stand up properly.
That's revolutionary.
Yeah.
That's truly great. Unplayable before, but now
It's unplayable. I think we know the path. They've announced that there are going to be new racials for the allied races as well, and I think the only ones we know are Draenei and Tauren. But I need to look those up actually. High Mountain Tauren racials. I'll look these up quickly for you because we saw them in the demo, I think. So the Lightforged Draenei is a special race of Draenei blessed by the light. They have new horn styles, Lightforged tattoos, and can have glowing runes on their forehead. Their racial ability is Light's Judgment, so they call down a holy energy, dealing 5,150 holy damage to enemies within 5 yards after 3 seconds, and 40 yards with a 2.5 minute cooldown in this instant cast. Their racial ability is Forge of Light, so they summon a Forge of Light, which they can use for blacksmithing, and their blacksmithing ability is passively increased by 10. Their racial passives are Demon's Bane, so they get increased XP for killing beasts by 20%. Final Verdict, when you die, the light avenges you, so you deal 1,248 holy damage to enemies within 8 yards. And it also heals allies for 1,486. I think these numbers are all from the demo. So this is after. So another thing that's happening in the battle for Azeroth, there's going to be a stat squish. And the screenshot from the demo suggests that the stats will be squished to around 190 item level at the start of 110 to 120.
Okay.
The new level cap is 120 in the new expansion as well. And
is it 100 at the moment?
It's 110 at the moment.
Okay, right.
And it goes to 120.
Okay.
And I really like the idea of stat squish because the numbers are getting ridiculously big. We're getting like 10 million health. The numbers are too big.
Have they tried just whenever they release something new to not just increase it so much next time?
Yeah, but they tried a stat squish in Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
And
it's all ridiculous after that.
I think it was either in Draenor or Pandaria they did a stat squish, and it just didn't work too well.
Okay. So this is the second
because it did squish the stats, but then the stats just kept getting bigger.
Yes, I mean they need to squish it and also not.
But they said
make
they've got better at working on increasing stats through the year, so it shouldn't get too ridiculous anymore. Because we were hitting like with the new legendaries, we were hitting 1,000 item level.
Right. Okay.
But now they should go down to about 200 at the start of the expansion. And this is going to be way smaller numbers, I think. Because you're going to go from like having 10 million health in Legion to the start of Battle for Azeroth. You're going to have around 100k maybe.
Right.
It's going to be way easier to read the numbers because if you think about it, having 1 million, there can be lots of... They're not always going to be zeros, so you might You might hit like 1, 9,
unless
3,
you
6, 7,
really,
6.
Unless you separate out like
4.
every 1,000.
But it's going to be way easier to read a smaller number.
Yeah, that is true.
So the last ability of the Lightforged Draenei is Holy Resistance. So they reduce holy damage they take by 1%. And we know the racials of the High Mountain Tauren as well. They have the racial ability Bull Charge. So they charge forward for 1 second and knock enemies down for 1.5 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. They have Pride of the Iron Horn. So their mining skill is increased by 15 and they can mine faster than anyone else. They have Mountaineer, which increases versatility by 1%. They have Rugged Tenacity, which reduces the damage they take by 330 in the demo. It'll be a scaling number in the full game. And Waste Not, Want Not, they have a chance to loot additional meat and fish because there's lots of meat and fish in the high mountain. So yeah, that's really cool. And I think what they said is they may add more allied races as the expansion goes along. So at the moment, they only have allied races for the Tauren, the Draenei, the blood elf, the night elf, the dwarf, and the trolls. But we might see orc allied races. We might see undead allied races. We might see human allied races, for example.
Yeah.
So that'd be really cool. I'm really excited to see more. One thing they said as well is that when you level up you can, of course, race change your character. So if you always wanted to be a Dark Iron Dwarf, you can race change your dwarf to a Dark Iron Dwarf. Because Blizzard is going to make a lot of money on race changes. Their services on World of Warcraft are super expensive.
Yeah.
And they've always been this way, and I think they understood the idea of adding allied races would make them a lot of money on race transfers. But they have said if you choose to make an allied race, they start at level 20, which I don't think in these days is anything. In really, when you think about how easy it is to get from 1 to 20 with heirlooms, it's about maybe half an hour, maybe, or something like that. But they start at 20. But if you level up an allied race all the way from 20 to 120, I think you have to get to the new cap. You get a brand new set of transmog from the new allied race, which you can then transmog onto your other classes. I think it's global.
Yeah. Okay.
So even if you play like a paladin and you get like a plate transmog, it can be changed to like a mage transmog, so like a cloth version basically, which is pretty cool. And so it means that if you don't want to pay for a race transfer and you've been playing like this dwarf for like 7 years or something like that, you can make a Dark Iron Dwarf and to all the way to 120, and you can take the transmog and you can put it on your dwarf to say, hey, I leveled up as a Dark Iron Dwarf.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But there's no way to change your current race to the new race. If you have a pre-establishing character, there's no way to change your race other than the race change.
Yeah, there's no free way, I guess.
Because people have a lot of investment in their characters that they can't make from another character. So I talked about the stat squish. There's now they've taken another idea from Guild Wars 2.
They've twisted it in their own way that makes sense in like how
there's now zone scaling. So we talked about they've taken dynamic events from Guild Wars 2. They added those in Warlords of Draenor with the bonus objectives. They've taken the idea of waypoints. They added those in Argos, the shop from England, with the Lightforge ship waypoints.
I thought it was a Greek city as well.
I don't know.
Or a planet.
And now Guild Wars 2 allows you to level scale throughout the entire game.
So Guild Wars 2
downwards.
So Guild Wars does it just downwards. So like if you're level 80 is the cap in Guild Wars. If you go down to like a level,
did they add a new cap in the new expansion, or is it?
They can't. No, because you have masteries. So they just.
Oh yeah, masteries. Yeah.
80 is still the max. But yeah, so if you go, let the first level areas, like the start is level 1, and you go up to level 15. If you go down there, you just get put down to like level 3, say, in the level 1 area.
Yeah, but
so this is the slightly different bit. It makes more sense in the way that they've set up.
So if you had like a zone like
Warcraft.
I don't know, like Burning Steps, say it was like 55 to 60, it can now scale from like 40 to 60 or stuff like that. So you can't go to Elwyn Forest as a level 110 and there's like, there's a wolf doing like 110 damage to you, right?
Yeah.
It can only scale so far up. And another change is when you hit 58, you would go to Outland and you level through the Burning Crusade, and then you would go to Northrend and you would level through Northrend. Now they're giving you the option to, at level 60, you can go to Northrend or you can go to the Burning Crusade. They both scale from 60 to 80. So you can take this choice between the two. And the same thing's happening with Cataclysm and Pandaria. So most rational people will just go through the entirety of Cataclysm and pretend Pandaria doesn't exist.
What is Pandaria?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think anyone is going to level up in Pandaria anymore after this change, unless you're like a fucking furry.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, people want to roleplay as pandas. I still to this day hate pandas. They were a joke. They were a joke race they were a joke race in Warcraft 3, and the only reason Blizzard made them was to appeal to the Chinese market. Basically, the Asian market for MMOs is fucking huge.
So what you're saying is only Asian people will level up in Pandaria?
They love pandas in China. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying they'll be the ones that want to level up at that level.
So there's not full scaling like there is in Guild Wars 2.
No. It makes sense in this.
You can go from level 80 to a level 1 zone and you can get scaled down to level 1 again.
Yeah, so it's just, they've done that to help.
But now,
help
if you're
friends.
level 120, if you go to Elwyn Forest, you're not level 1 again, basically.
Yeah, which is, you can't help with friends in the same way, but I can understand it in the context of...
But I really like
World of
this
Warcraft.
idea that the world is still... They said that they like the idea that the world is still dangerous.
Yeah.
That if I go to... They didn't want full scaling where you could get scaled up.
Yeah, I don't agree with scaling up.
Because they didn't want you to be able to go from, like, Elwyn Forest, and then you went, like, straight to, I don't know, Stranglethorn at, like, level 10.
Yeah.
And you could, like, fight mobs there. They wanted it to be a scary place where...
Was that you want the progression of, like, oh, I've completed this area, I've leveled up enough to get to this
I
area.
can go to this area
Yeah.
now because I've leveled up my character.
I don't think it would work in any MMO if you had scaling upwards as well as downwards.
Right, so let's talk about PvP as well. PvP updates. There's a new arena and a new battleground. It's the first battleground they've made in 7 years. 7 years since they made a battleground for World of Warcraft.
Did they just, like, forget about PvP? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Their PvP manager was recently changed. They recently got rid of the head of PvP, and they've got a new one.
What were they doing before in PvP? Like anything?
Nothing. People hated the Legion PvP changes.
Okay, right.
Because what they did was they made it so they were like, for years PvP has been unbalanced because people with better gear would just destroy people with worse gear.
Yeah.
So what they did was they went, let's get what's called a stat template. So as soon as you go into PvP, you're exactly the same in terms of gear as somebody else.
Yeah.
But what this did was completely remove the sense of progression from PvP. So nobody wanted to play it anymore because there was no progression in it.
So balance it, but there's no point.
Because they added PvP talents, but this wasn't enough progression in the same way that throughout every other PvP expansion they added the gear progression through the game. And now when you got gear drops for outside of PvP, it was all just RNG again. You had just random loot drops basically.
Okay, right.
And people really hate the idea of stat templates, and they hate the idea of just random drops from battlegrounds.
They want progression to, like, oh, I need to be this level to...
Because the only thing it would, when you didn't have the PvP talents, the only thing it would mean would that you just have to grind battlegrounds basically just to get PvP talents in order to play arena. Another thing about PvP that they still haven't added is people want solo queue. So at the moment for rated battlegrounds, you can only queue up as 2v2 and 3v3. There's no solo arena rankings.
Okay.
And they're like, we know that you can create really good matchmaking systems from games like Overwatch and stuff with MMR and stuff. It shouldn't be too hard to make a solo queue rated arena PvP basically. But PvP and the PvP map and the level scaling is coming next patch in Legion. So you're going to be able to test it before the new expansion comes out. Okay. So in 7.3.5, you get access to the new level scaling and the new PvP map, which is this Heart of Azeroth, which is the new resource that's going to be really important in Battle for Azeroth. So in Battle for Azeroth, you're getting rid of your artifact weapons, and you're now getting a new item called the Heart of Azeroth, which you're going to be powering up by Azerite, and this is the thing you're going to be fighting over with the Horde to get. And what that's going to do is you're not dumping all of your Azerite into one item like an artifact weapon. It's going to be put into several items, which is at the moment your helm, shoulders, and I think and there's another piece. It doesn't really matter, but what's going to happen is that it's going to be exactly the same talents. They're specifically crafted, and changing your helmet doesn't change the talents. It just changes the damage of how much the talent does. So say you're like a shaman and you get an ability that deals like a lightning burst. If you had like a normal version of a raid, it will deal like 100 damage, say for example. But the heroic version will be the same ability, but it deals 200 damage instead. Okay. So the idea is upgrading your gear doesn't mean throwing away all the talents you've got from the Heart of Azeroth. Azerite, I think. It's the Heart of Azeroth, and then you put Azerite into it.
Right.
But the idea is that isn't something that if you replace it, you're not throwing everything you've worked towards away, which is the idea of the artifact weapons. The idea is that you can keep getting gear while not physically dumping a bunch of artifact power into one specific artifact weapon. There is no AP now that goes into your inventory and clogs up your inventory. The Azerite goes straight into your heart of Azerite and you use it there.
Do you have a second heart?
Well, it's more like a necklace.
Okay.
It's just called the Heart of Azeroth.
Like a little pendant that can store Azerite.
So back to PvP. You can now... The biggest change is World PvP. For years they've said they didn't want to balance World PvP. In Legion it was awful. It was super imbalanced. People were getting like one shot and stuff. But they were saying we didn't want to balance World PvP when there was PvP servers and PvE servers.
Right.
And we didn't want to balance it when some people didn't want to opt into it and some people did. So they're basically the big change they're doing with this expansion is they're getting rid of PvP servers and they're getting rid of PvE servers. And now there's just servers. So now what you do is you have to individually opt into PvP. So you can only do this in a capital city. You opt into World PvP, and when you go out on quest, on that server you're in a shard, which is like it's another part of that server, but you're put into a separate phase or instance with other people who opted
same area, but different
World
instance.
PvP.
Yeah.
And you only fight against people who have opted into World PvP. So if you have it turned off in the capital cities, you're basically like on a PvE server, so you won't interact with anyone else in the world on the opposite faction.
So almost put like each server will have like 2 servers in a way.
So what people are saying, this is going to destroy World PvP because no one's going to opt into it. But I think it actually makes it better for people who like World PvP because you're only fighting against other people who've opted into doing World PvP. Yeah. And if you turn it on in the capital city and you go out into the world, you can get bonuses for turning it on. So you can get specific bonuses like they threw around like extra XP, extra gold, maybe rep. They're not sure because they don't want to make it people who don't want to PvP feel like they have to turn World PvP on, but they definitely want to give bonuses to people.
So just like a small increase, like 1% or something.
We got some dungeons are going to be faction specific level up dungeons. So you're going to go from 110 to 120 through your faction's zone and dungeons, and then when you get to the end, you get to go into the other faction's one. Mythic Plus is here to stay. They've said they really like Mythic Plus, and they said dungeons have been designed to add features to Mythic Plus. They'll change based on Mythic Plus.
What is Mythic Plus?
So the idea is you have normal dungeons.
Right.
You have heroic difficulty, which gives more rewards.
Yeah.
Then you have mythic difficulty, which is quite hard, and then you have Mythic Plus, which you get keystones, and these keystones have different abilities on them that make the kind of dynamically change how difficult the dungeon is.
Right.
So a Mythic Plus keystone might have a ability that means that enemies have 50% more health, or it might go, you need to kill a certain amount of enemies inside this mythic, and in order to complete it.
Right.
So you get keystones, and you decide whether you want to do that challenge.
It's just, so like, there's lots of things that can change out to make it feel different each time you do it.
They can change the keystone to make it completely different to any other, because it's from normal to mythic is going to be kind of similar.
Right.
Experience. It's just the health and the damage you do is going to be scaling, right?
With more coordination.
But with Mythic Plus, there's very dynamic dungeons, and one Mythic Plus dungeon you do is going to be very different from another one you do.
Yeah.
And they're designing the dungeons in mind, which may indicate that a Mythic Plus dungeon might have a different path you can go down, or they can completely change the dungeon based on your keystone, which is really cool. And I really like Mythic Plus. I think it's one of the best things they added in Legion.
It's more varied content.
And they've said the first raid is going to be called Uldir, the Halls of Control. There's going to be 8 bosses, and it's all going to be about the Zandalar's corruption. Okay. That's going to be that's going to be the Emerald Nightmare of Armies of Azeroth. It's Battle of Azeroth, right? Okay.
World at War. I thought it was called.
I think that's all I've got to say about World of Warcraft for now.
Is that everything?
Yeah. So we'll move on to...
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you want to go into Blizz Pro, if you go into the World of Warcraft section, there's tons of stuff. Oh god, there's actually more I could go into because there's like the new island system.
Oh yeah,
the new PV.
We probably should go into that.
There's the.
I will warn you, we are an hour in.
Yeah, this is the BlizzCon special.
That's fine. I'm just warning you.
So you can explore uncharted islands across the Great Sea. So the idea is you have 3-player cooperative, which I love the idea of because I really like hard scaling content that's solo or with small amounts of players because I only have a couple of friends that I usually play World of Warcraft with.
It's something...
So I liked the idea of Mythic because I could do that with friends. I really liked the Chromie scenario. I think that was one of the best designed, difficult challenges to do by yourself. And I like the idea of 3-person cooperative gameplay because I have a couple of friends I could play with.
I think people have in all games we've neglected co-op for the past 5 years. I want to say. So I'm saying this interests me as well because it's one problem I have say someone like Guild Wars. There's no.
Well, I think people are very against the idea of co-op gameplay in an MMO because the idea of the MMO is that it's massively multiplayer.
Well, that's fine.
And everything should include lots of people.
That's fine until you include single player stuff.
Yeah.
If you include single player stuff, the single player stuff should also be co-op in my opinion because the whole point of the MMO is to play with other people.
But the idea is basically 3 of you go to an island and there's dynamic gameplay, so you have different objectives to get Azeroth.
Right.
And you have to basically fight against NPCs in order to complete this mission with your friends. And there's also going to be a PvP version where 3 of you come onto a boat and then there's 3 Horde players who come to the boat and you both have to fight for this objective and try to do it as well.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
That sounds really good.
And I think it's going to kind of be like the Rift system in Diablo where each island is completely randomized.
Oh, okay.
So you could have a peaceful Zandaloid troll seeking help, acquiring resources, or other non-combat tasks, or you could have an ancient cursed island filled with undead and crypts and stuff, or you could have the Mogu who are kind of Skrits from Guild Wars 2, but from Pandaria, and they're claiming islands which need to be reclaimed. So there's lots of different things. There's not going to be one way to complete this task. It's going to be a real dynamic event.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's cooperative dynamic events.
Which, in my opinion, sounds really cool if they do it as well.
That sounds really good.
But yeah, if you want to check out even more in depth from what I say, check out BlizzPro. They're really good for World of Warcraft and Blizzard news. There's a picture of Sky Captain Crag. I want a Parrot Mount in World of Warcraft. Please, Blizzard, give it to me. So, we'll talk about Hearthstone. So the new Hearthstone expansion was released, Kobolds and Cataclysms. Oh, sorry, I think this picture is incomplete. This is a new pitch from the new expansion. There we go. Blizzard. This is Blizzard inside their gold chamber from all the money they're making from Hearthstone.
This is actually their bank account.
That's their gold chamber from
right.
all the last expansion. They announced a legendary DK for every class to make a lot of money, and now they've announced that this expansion they're going to release a weapon for every class as well.
Legendary weapons.
Yeah.
That you need to get.
So I thought it'd be kind of cool if I showed you the new cards and I also showed them to Tony and asked him what he thought of those cards. Because
then you would tell me if
you don't play Hearthstone.
No, I've never played Hearthstone other than 2 games. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Hearthstone, but I don't know the balance and what makes it a good card, what makes it a bad card. I don't even know how you make a good deck.
Mm-hmm. So
I want to say I do play Magic the Gathering, which it is similar to in a lot of respects, but not that many.
So first card is there's a new mechanic called Recruit. So what Recruit does is with Recruit it pulls a random minion out your deck and puts it onto the battlefield.
But as long as it reaches it has to be 4 or less of the one.
Well, this one does, but there's a Recruit card from Warrior that just pulls any card out of your deck.
Oh, okay.
So this just recruits a minion. So the mana barrier is put onto cards, but the actual recruit mechanic itself is that you can recruit any card from your deck. Basically.
But I'm saying it says after the recruit's ability, it will say what the prerequisites are and what it can pull out.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this is a 5 mana 2/4 battlecry recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. What do you think of this card?
Isn't that pretty good? I want to say that's good because you can just pay.
Yeah.
Pay
At
5.
first I saw it and I was like, that's bad. And then I was like,
but
wait.
you're paying 5 mana for a 9 mana. In a way. But you can't choose.
This isn't a 5 mana card. Because a 5 mana 2/4 is really bad.
That's true. Okay, I'll give you that.
So let's say you pull a 4. So let's say a 4/4 is an average 4 drop, right?
Yeah.
So you're paying 5 mana for a 6/8, which is pretty good.
But in 2 cards, they're still more susceptible to spells.
RNG, because you can also pull smaller cards. So the likelihood is
and
that,
you can't choose what things to sack.
Yeah. You can pull Meat Wagon from this, which is a bit of a meme card. Wait, Guild Recruiter into Meat Wagon into Summoning Stone. Now that's the new deck that we all need to play.
Okay, that doesn't mean much to me, but
I think this card, whenever I look at this card, I go, oh, you can pull Piloted Shredder, and that's like an insane 4-drop, but that's in Wild, so I'm really not sure about how strong the recruitment
I'm
is.
going to retract what I've said, because the 2/4 isn't that great.
You know Demonic Tutor, the Magic the Gathering card? Where you just you play it, search for a card in your deck and pull it out. We're almost there. We're almost at the level of searching your deck, pulling a card out of it, and just putting it into.
To be fair, like in Magic's terms, it's 4 mana and 2 swamps, right? That's quite a lot.
Wait, I think Demonic Tutor is 2 mana.
Is it? I thought it was 4 mana. Oh, it's 2 mana.
Demonic Tutor is 2 mana.
What the hell? Okay, that's too powerful.
It's too powerful. They might have nerfed it. Shuffle. There's
you lose life
Vampiric
now.
Tutor for 1 mana. Search your library for a card, then put that on top and lose.
I'm thinking the Ablic Tutor, because I don't think they print Demonic Tutor anymore.
Yeah, that's a really old card.
I think that's too imbalanced. This is the one I'm thinking of, which is fine in my opinion.
4 mana, put it into your hand.
Yeah, but it completely uses up so much of your mana that you then can't do much with it.
This is
Vampiric Tutor is pretty cool.
This is the 2016. I think is that 2016? Is that 2014? I can't read that.
That's probably the 2016 one, but there is an older one with a different looking.
I think this card's okay, but I don't think it's insane. I think
it's below average actually.
What do you think about this card? I think this card's really good. Stats are
when it says summon 2 copies of this card.
No.
Of the card you destroyed?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
So you have to destroy a friendly minion, and then you can summon 2 copies of it.
I think that's ridiculously good.
I think it could be good, but
it's situational, but it could be a good combo.
You need to build a deck around it. It needs to be in a slow meta.
I think that would be really good. That has a lot of uses.
Because people at the moment, they're playing Moat Lurker, which is 6 mana 3/3. Death Rattle, resummon the minion you destroyed.
Oh, that's cool.
So people are destroying their own minions and then resummoning them with that.
Yeah. But you could also just suicide them into something to you could trade and then you bring back the things you destroyed.
But I think if you had a really greedy deck and you play Carnivorous Cube and you get double, I don't know, Ragnaros or something, that would be crazy.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Does that actually work?
Why wouldn't it?
I don't know. I wasn't even thinking of that.
You just whenever this dies, basically this has cannot be targeted, almost because of you don't want to kill it.
No.
So if you think about
unless they've put really terrible, unless it just put a really terrible minion.
Yeah, let me Knights of the Frozen Throne. So they introduced a bunch of cards, and one of them was I think it's a 5 mana 2/2, and the effect was that when it died, it came back as an 8/8. So if it in theory had cannot be targeted basically.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it. See what the name is of it. Skellymancer. So it's this card. So this card was a 5 mana 2/2. So this is kind of similar to this card in a way. It's a 5 mana card, and
that has to done that on your opponent's turn. Okay, so you can't suicide it. That's pretty cool. That's
you can't suicide it. But what people were doing was they played this, and then they'd play Forged Stegodon, which gives it taunt and lots of health. So people would have to attack this to get through it.
Yeah,
and you can only attack on your turn. So if you attacked it, you're basically giving them an 8/8 basically. So I think you can kind of compare these two in a way.
I think they're similar.
Expansion. This didn't see too much play though.
Did it not? I think that's really cool.
I
really
saw
like
it a little
these
bit play and like a greedy N'Zoth paladin, basically.
Yeah, these types of decks I really like. That's how I like
It sees more play in like. I think if there's a slower meta, this is going to see play. I think people are definitely going to play around with this card at least.
Okay.
Marin the Fox. This was actually added to the game already in preparation for the new expansion, Kobolds and Catacombs.
When it says break for awesome loot,
I'll show you the loot as well.
Okay. Because I'm a bit confused.
So your opponent gets this, which is a 0 mana, a 3 mana 0/8, and when it dies, it gives your opponent a fantastic treasure. So you give them the loot on their side, and then when you destroy it, you get loot. So the loot is, I don't think it's on here somewhere. So this is the loot. So you can get the Golden Kobold, which is like the Golden Monkey from the previous expansion.
Right.
Taunt, 3 mana 6/6, very good stats. Battlecry, replace your hand with legendary minions.
Okay.
3 mana Toland's Goblet, draw a card, fill your hands with copies of it. Wondrous Wand, draw 3 cards, reduce their cost to 0. Or Zarog's Crown, discover a legendary minion, summon 2 copies of it.
Oh my god, okay. So basically, they give it a very powerful, a very healthy treasure chest on their side, then you have to then destroy it and then...
Yeah, and you get a really powerful big card that goes off.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Marin the Fox?
That sounds really cool. I like that. I like pirating. It sounds amazing.
Okay.
And it sounds really... Those abilities are really cool as well.
I will tell you, it's a really cool card.
But it's probably not that great.
It's a really cool card. These are really cool abilities, but I think this card is way too slow. Because I've played around with it.
That's pretty... Yeah.
Because the problem is you play an 8 mana 6/6, and then you have to spend a couple turns killing it. Unless you do this and then instantly destroy this, then it's not really worth it, because you're so far behind on tempo.
I think the treasure chest maybe has too much health.
You need to like destroy... So this is kind of like a 10 mana combo, because you need to play like a Shadow Word Pain or a Crazed Alchemist to destroy it. So it's like 10 mana... Summon a 6/6 and get a treasure, which is okay. But the only deck I feel like it fits in is like a big druid with like ramp in it, where you just ramp to get to loads of mana, and then you play this as soon as possible. Yeah,
I think it's a cool card, but I understand the problems. Yeah.
So there's a new druid card, the Lesser Jasper Spellstone, which deals 2 damage to a minion. But there's a new mechanic where if you meet a certain criteria, it upgrades it. So if you gain 3 armor to upgrade it, it then becomes deal 4 damage to a minion for 1 mana. And then if you gain 3 armor again, it then becomes 1 mana, deal 6 damage to a minion. So this is really good.
So you can hold it in your hand and just like it gets better and better. Okay, that's really cool. I like that.
So this is really good. This is okay. So the idea is how many times is this going to be a 1 mana deal 2 damage, and how many times is this going to be a 1 mana deal 6 damage? And I think most
you have to build a deck around it, right?
Yeah. So the normal Druid hero power, which you're going to be using, is you gain 1 armor for using it.
Right.
Which, so on average, it'll take about 3 hero powers to upgrade this to...
Is there not other minions to increase
there
it?
Is other there is other spells and druids to add armor.
Okay. So basically they want an armor druid. I think that's pretty good, actually, then. I think that's pretty cool.
I think one of the problems druids has is it's really bad against single target removal, so 1 mana deals 6 damage to a minion will be really good for them. In that sense, maybe this is a one-off, but I think the amount of armor you may need to gain may be too much. I think a card that is definitely going to push this one over the edge, if you own it or not, is going to be Ultimate Infestation.
Yeah.
5 armor, 5 damage, 5 cards, 5/5.
Yeah, I don't. It's not good to be like in a normal deck.
But
if you have an armor deck,
if you hero power twice and play Ultimate Infestation, this becomes a 1 mana deal 6 damage to a minion. If you play Malfurion, the Death Knight, you can upgrade this in 1 turn, basically.
But either way, you need to have your deck be built around armor, though. Otherwise you can't
I don't think so.
Do you not think so?
Most Druid decks already have a lot of armor gain in them.
Okay.
With Malfurion the Pestilent, with Ultimate Infestation. I think this could be it might be a one-off. I don't think you... Unless
Maybe-
you're against aggro, you never keep this early game, and you try and draw it later to help with removal.
I don't know. I could see having 2 of it as well.
But you already have Wrath, which is a really good removal, which is
I guess
2 mana, deal 3 damage, or draw a card with 1. Let's see. So there's a new Hunter secret, which secrets are always... There's always good to add more secrets to an expansion because you have to play around way more things.
I like secrets.
Wandering Monster secret: when an enemy attacks your hero, summon a 3-cost minion as the new target. So
instead of you getting hit, the new you summon a 3-cost minion that gets hit instead.
You summon a 3-cost minion from your deck.
Yeah.
So the idea isn't the same as a Noble Sacrifice from Paladin, where you get a 2/1 that interrupts it. You get to choose what the 3-drop is.
Okay.
So the idea that I was having when I saw this card was you could put in cards like Devil's Hawk Egg, for example, which is a 3-mana 0/3. When it dies, it summons a 5/5.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you were playing like Egg Hunter, which is a deck that got a little bit of popularity this expansion, but didn't go off too much, that could be a really interesting card to put in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think it's quite hard to evaluate secrets because you never really know how strong they're going to be. I think this is a specific card for a specific deck, and I don't think this card's going to be anywhere near meta-defining.
No, that's true.
Crushing Walls, destroy your opponent's left and rightmost minions. I think this card is super bad. You're adding a really expensive removal for Hunter, whose entire game plan is to go face. They always try and do this by adding control cards to Hunter for no reason. I think Deathstalker Rexar was a really good control card for Hunter with Builder Beast, but I think this card is just not really going to do anything this expansion.
And this card is like, if I'm playing against Hunter, I have to worry. I don't want to put my really strong minions on the side.
Yeah, that's
kind of stupid.
There's classes like Mage who has Meteor that deals a lot of damage to the minion in the middle and then deals damage to ones at the side. They have Hunter also has Explosive Shot, which is deals 5 damage to the one in the middle and 2 to the sides, but no one ever plays that. I think
that is something really missing. Like more so, like I do like the idea of like there is a importance.
There's a lot of importance to minion placement.
Yeah, I like that. So that seems really bad.
This is one of the first legendaries we saw. I think this was the second one actually. But this is the Mage one, which is a Lanuth, which is a 6-mana 0/3. So every class in the game is getting a legendary weapon.
Okay.
And the spellcasters are getting ones without attack. They're going to have spell effects basically. So
how would it decrease in its armor?
That's the durability.
So does it lose
weapons lose durability whenever you attack with them?
But if you can't attack with them because it's 0.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it would lose durability if they had a card that reduces durability.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's
like Blood Cell Corsair, for example.
So just giving it some, so it can be taken away by the opponent. Okay, yeah.
Or if they had... I think with this expansion, seeing how many legendary weapons there are, I think there's going to be so many weapon removal cards. There is so many tech weapon removal cards running the game already, like Acidic Swampoos, Gluttonous Ooze, Harrison Jones. I think you're never going to be able to play a weapon without it getting removed, basically.
Okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, I don't actually know how this card works. I think it might work as that you lose a durability when you draw 3 cards, but you're paying 6 mana and you're drawing 9 cards over 3 turns. How does that sound?
Amazing.
Really good.
Yeah, but if you want lots, would that be really good for like a lots of small spell deck though? So you can draw them all and you get them really quickly at the end.
If you're playing like a tempo mage deck though, I don't think you'd want to spend 6 mana on doing nothing that turn and then drawing 3 cards.
If I'm saying
like you can play Medivh.
Yeah.
Because Medivh, you're playing a 7/7 and you get the staff that lets you cast a spell and summon a minion. It's a huge tempo card, but this is definitely a control mage card. This is not a tempo card.
But I was saying like if you had lots of small cards you could at the end that you fizzle out because you're not getting enough cards quick enough. Was there better draw cards for something like that?
I don't think you ever play this in a deck with lots of small minions in it.
Okay.
Because you're just never going to be able to finish your opponent if you're playing a 6-mana 0/3 weapon.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, Paladin, Drygulch Jailer, 2-mana 1/1, Death Rattle, summon 3 Silverhand Recruits. This is definitely a card for what's it called?
Well, doesn't something
hand buff paladin.
Adds it to your hand. Yeah. Okay.
So there's hand buff paladin, which buffs things in your hand, basically, like Smuggler's Run.
Yeah.
Or Grime Street. Something. I don't remember what the surname of it. There's a paladin 1/1 that gives everything in your hand +1/+1.
Okay.
There's another 5 mana 4/4 one. And they've been trying to push this idea of paladin hand buffs, and I think in a paladin hand buff this card would work, but on its own it's pretty bad in my opinion. I mean, you're paying 2 mana for
nothing.
Well, you're paying 2 mana for a 1/1, but you're paying for 4/4 of stats over a few turns, which is okay. I think this is This is actually a good arena card in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think
I think Silverhand Recruits cost 1 mana by themselves.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this card is going to be good in arena, and I think
Very
it's going to
good
be good
for
in
self-
hand buff paladin.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's going to be meh in most other paladin decks.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So there's a new. How long have we got? I don't want to.
We're now on 20 in.
How much time have we got overall though?
If you want to end the 2 hours mark.
How much time have we
40
got?
minutes until the 2 hours.
So we're on 120. That was the
yeah.
only question I was asking.
I answered that. We're in 1 hour 20.
You said we're 20.
Well, 1 hour 20 minutes.
Okay. Unidentified elixir. Give a minion +2/+2 and gain a bonus effect. So you don't actually know what the bonus effect is until you draw it into your hand.
Oh, okay.
So you can still play around this because it's not getting the bonus effect when you play it. You can see the bonus effect as soon as it's in your hand.
So it's RNG as soon as it's into your hand, and then you can go, oh, is that good or bad?
Okay, so the effects are Death Rattle, return this minion to your hand, Lifesteal,
Also,
Divine
they
Shield.
get +2/+2 as well.
They always get +2/+2
fair
from the
enough.
elixir, but the bonus effects are Death Rattle, return to your hand, Lifesteal, Divine Shield, and summon a 1/1 copy of this. So what do you think of that?
How the 1/1 copy of it? That's just if it's got like a really good other effect, basically.
But you can't build a deck around this because of the RNG nature of these cards.
I think you could build a deck around it, sort of, but not as
You could
Not
build,
as a
you
core.
could build a deck around buffing up minions, like a divine.
if you had
in a fire divine spirit.
okay. If you had a buff deck, I would definitely put this in. I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, you might want to put it in. I don't know. I kind of like this card,
I don't know.
but it is kind of yeah.
I think some of them are just really bad though. Like the divine shield, I don't think it's great. Lifesteal's okay.
I don't know. I could see a lot of uses of the Divine Shield, but I don't play Hearthstone, so
I think this is going to be 2 RNG.
you might be right.
After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 dragon, so it's a 3 mana 0/3. So if you cast 3 spells that turn, then you summon a 5/5 dragon, which is here.
Okay.
Think of that.
Why does it have a? Does it just have a mana cost so it can like be balanced with other cards? Okay.
So if that gets returned to your hand, it
Yeah.
costs 5 mana, or if it gets evolved, it becomes a 6 mana card. If
Yeah.
it gets devolved, it becomes a 4 mana card.
Right. Makes sense.
They need to give 4 mana costs to tokens just to balance them. Basically.
Yeah, that's kind of cool actually. I never thought of that. Okay. Does it have more or less use than the mage one? That's what I want to know.
It costs 3 mana, and it's Priest, which is a deck that isn't heavily based around tempo.
Okay.
I mean, Mage isn't heavily based around tempo. I mean, that was the idea you were saying.
Yeah.
Mage is also a heavy control deck at the moment, especially with Quest Mage. But I think this is a lot better because of the mana cost. I think every time something is cheaper, it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
I think it's realistic to cast 3 spells in a turn, especially when you have stuff like Shadow Anduin Priest,
Right.
and you have stuff like what's it called, the Radiant Elemental, where you reduce the cost of spells by 1, so you can play a lot of cheap spells, especially with Lyra, the spell woman.
Okay.
So I definitely think that this is going to be interesting. I don't know if you play this in Shadow Reaper Anduin Priest, but you might. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's exceptional.
No. I think a lot of the time you can look at it and go, I don't need this in my deck. I
mean, how many times are you going to be playing this on 3 and then playing 3 spells on 4 and summoning a 5/5?
Yeah, I think that's going to get replaced by something better, comboing stuff, personally.
Rogue has Kobold Illusionist Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand. So it's a 4-mana 3/3, which is bad stats, but you summon a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand, so you kind of have to build something you want a 1/1 copy of that is also in your hand. I think this is too janky to work, honestly.
You need like the actual text on it to be good, right? Like if it dies, it comes back as something better. Yeah, that's that.
Well, you need to put a minion in that's, you know, like a 1-mana 1/1, like a Nubarak or something.
Yeah, I think that is too finicky to get working.
I think this is okay.
It's okay, yeah.
But it's not great. Shaman, Leicester Sapphire Spellstone. Summon a 1 copy of a friendly minion, and if you overload 3 mana crystals, you upgrade it again, similar to the Druid one. So you summon 1 copy of a friendly minion for 7 mana, which is awful.
Yeah.
And then you upgrade it, and then 7 mana, 2 copies. And then if you overload 3 mana crystals again, you summon 3 copies of a friendly minion.
I think again, like the other one, actually, no, the other one I said was really good, right? I think this is slightly worse, but still useful.
I think this is pretty bad, and I think
the amount of times you overcharge, but it is really, yeah.
But it's going to be hard to cast a 7 mana spell when you've overloaded so many crystals as well. And I don't think there's anything you really want to copy in Shaman. Shaman's a very heavy tempo-based deck, pretty much. So casting a 7 mana spell,
you'd need a really
especially
big
when
thing
you have
on it.
stuff like Evolve Shaman, is not really going to be that useful.
So if you got something evolved, can you not copy it in its evolved thing?
Yeah, you can, but I don't.
So surely you want to keep that until you've got something like fully evolved, and you then have.
There's not that much overload in the current Shaman deck even.
Okay.
You don't even play Faceless, the 4 mana 7/7.
I remember being them like lots of overload.
Not really anymore.
Okay. I didn't realise that.
The heavy overload was because of cards like Tunnel Trog, which was the 1 mana 1/3 that got a plus attack for the overload, where you could play stuff like the 4 mana 7/7 frame Reefed Faceless, which had overload 2 on it. But yeah, I think this card kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to actually use.
This is a really interesting card. Warlock 6 mana 3/6. Rin the First Disciple, Taunt, Death Rattle. Add the first seal to your hand. Then the first seal summons a 2/2. Add the second seal to your hand. Summon a 3/3. Add the third seal all the way to the 6th seal.
That's really cool.
Which summons a 6/6 Devourer. All of these cost 5 mana.
What's that thing? Was it the golem you could keep like placing down to get more
Jade
power?
Golem.
It's like that, but not as ridiculous.
Summon a larger man and an even larger man.
Yeah, it's like that, but
and
not
then
as stupid.
eventually, when you summoned a 6/6 demon, you add Arazir the Devourer to your hand, and then you get Arazir the Devourer was a 10 mana 10/10 destroys your opponent's deck.
I really like this card.
Right. I'm not sold on this card, actually.
You know?
I think it kind of sucks.
It's slow, I'll give you that.
I think it's too slow.
Yeah, you might be right. I still like it, though.
Because also, the way you activate this, even though it has Taunt, your opponent decides when you start this kind of semi-quest, because it's on its death rattle.
Yeah.
So you could even... If your opponent silences this, your entire quest is completely useless.
Yeah.
You just played a 6...
You don't kill it yourself?
Yeah, you can kill it yourself.
Okay.
But if you play it...
Or suicide it.
Yeah, if you can't... You want to try and kill this, basically, to start the quest. But if your opponent plays one silence, your entire huge quest is completely useless. And I think the huge quest is probably more of a waste of time than the actual card itself. Like, you're summoning a 2/2 for 5 mana.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's awful. You have to spend... You have to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns to get to the quest, which is then a 10/10, which is turn 7, and you can't play this until at least turn 6. So let's say in the perfect world, right? You're on turn 6, you play this. Your opponent plays a card.
It dies straight away.
You suicide it. It's turn 7.
Yep.
Right. Turn
So 7.
Turn
still?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you have like 12 turns in the perfect world where your opponent just doesn't kill you when
Hang
you're
on, but-
spending
hang
5
on.
mana to summon a 2/2.
Can you not play these two at the same turn once you get to
You can play.
Oh, yeah, okay,
these.
so
You can play these two. When
8, 9? Play those two, then that one. That's actually that's really badly designed.
But the problem is
They should be 4 mana, right?
if you're if you're spending your entire turn spending a 5 mana spell, summoning a small creature, and not doing anything else, you're going to get destroyed.
Those should be like 4 mana, I think.
And then you're playing a 10 mana 10/10 is fine, but by this point, your opponent's probably used most of his cards.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's that fatigue works differently in Hearthstone. The game just keeps going, and you keep slowly taking damage over time.
Damage, yeah. I do you think this would fix it if those were 4 mana to the seals?
Oh, I think it'd be way better if they were 4 mana.
Yeah, I think that's too high, 5 mana.
I mean, prove me wrong, but I think this card is way too.
No, but
strong.
I think that the way, yeah, because in the perfect world, even in the perfect world, like it still adds up incorrectly. It's like the tempo's completely off.
Well, this isn't really a tempo card.
No, I mean in terms of like
the
mana using it in the correct
the
order.
idea of this card is to put it into like a super control warlock
Yeah.
deck. But you can't play your control cards when you're playing the seals.
No.
When you're summoning your mini J.
I think they should be 4 mana. That's too expensive.
I don't know. We'll have to see, but as for now, I think unless there's really good warlock cards to support this card,
Unless there's like a sacrifice sort of mechanic, I don't know. You can't even start them. But even then, I think even if you could sacrifice your own card, it's still bad. It's just too expensive per turn. And you then can't do anything.
like this card loses to silence, and then even if you start the quest, it takes so long that you're never going to do
Well,
anything.
loses signs unless you could place it down and sacrifice it immediately.
Yeah. But then it's not a 6 mana card anymore. It's a 6 mana plus whatever
Yeah,
mana cost
exactly.
to sacrifice it. The last card.
I like the
is-
idea, but it's too slow.
The last card is Warrior and 6 mana recruit minion. So stats
Any
alone,
minion.
6 mana on one card is pretty bad. But in a Warrior deck, you could completely fill the deck with only high cost minions. So you have low cost spells to get you through the early game, and then you play like
You then choose the big ones when you need them.
Deathwing or whatever. I think this card's okay.
I think it's...
The problem is
It's
new
good.
mechanics are really hard to evaluate in Hearthstone. I thought Adapt from Whisper of the Old Gods. I think it was. Oh, it wasn't Whisper of the Old Gods. It was on Journey to Ongoro. I thought Adapt was going to be really bad.
Really?
And it turned out it was really strong.
Adapts, I think most card
It's
games...
really hard to evaluate how strong, a minion sometimes having Wind Fury or sometimes having +1/+1 is going to be.
I don't know. I think adapts in most card games have been really good. Then again, I think some people might disagree
Well,
with Magic
what I'm
Gathering
saying is
Adapt.
it's really hard to evaluate Recruit because it's hard to say what the average card that's going to come out of your deck, even if you build a deck around it.
Yeah. I think it has potential, though.
Yeah, I think definitely in Warrior, which is a super late game deck with big minions.
Yeah. That would be really good.
We'd have to see a big Warrior deck built around this, though,
Yeah.
without early game minions. Otherwise, that would completely destroy the idea of this card.
Yeah. I don't know. It has potential.
Well, that is every card.
We know about.
Yeah.
Okay. Seems alright.
There's also a new, brand new game mode as well, which is the new dungeon game mode.
Right. I remember this, but I've now completely forgotten everything about this game mode.
So there's a new game mode where you face against, I think it's about 8 bosses, basically. And each one is like a specially crafted hard boss, and you build a deck.
Oh, yes, like specifically.
And as you get through the dungeon, you get a new passive or item you can use, and you get access to more cards to add to your deck. And then each boss is randomized, so it's always going to be a different run.
Okay.
And then if you die, your deck gets destroyed and you have to start again. So it's kind of like a Hearthstone roguelite, basically.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I like that.
Which is, I think, is going to be really interesting.
Does it cost money to start going on it, though?
No, it's completely free.
Okay, thank God for that.
We'll talk about Death Knights are being removed from the arena. So no more Death Knights wrecking everyone in arena, basically.
Death Knight's too OP.
There's a brand new Overwatch map, which is Blizzard World.
This is Overwatch.
Yeah. So the brand new Blizzard World is going to feature all the different Blizzard games, Warcraft, Diablo, Starcraft, all that good stuff.
I really like this map. I like the little I like the Overlord. And
when I first saw this trailer at BlizzCon, I was like, "What the fuck? Blizzard's making a theme park?" I thought this was like they were actually going to make a real theme park called Blizzard World, like Disneyland or something.
Oh, from the name itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they announced Blizzard World.
I just like the Overlord floating across it and the little floating probes.
This map looks so... I'm 100% going to play this map on Overwatch.
Yeah, this is so cool.
But they didn't even announce what game it was for when they showed this. They were just like, it's Blizzard World, and I was like, is this a new game or is this a map? But it looks a lot like Overwatch, so I was pretty quickly able to
It looks
see
a lot like Overwatch. It sounds like Overwatch as well.
The best feature for this new map is Deckard Cain voiceover in Diablo World.
Yeah, that's true. I like Deckard Cain too much. The Overlord! There he is!
Come and visit Blizzard World. New adventures are waiting for
I don't really know how this works into the Overwatch canon though.
Blizzard is a massive company in the Overwatch universe.
Because like in fucking like all the Valve things, like TF2 is a comic book and like Half-Life and stuff like that. Or Left 4 Dead is like a film or something.
So maybe in the Overwatch universe, like Blizzard just makes other games, but not Overwatch.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks really cool. Another piece of news is the new hero Moria, who's going to be a support / DPS, basically. She can choose between attacking and healing.
Tell me how this feels.
I quite like the look of her. Obviously, I didn't play Overwatch other than that one time.
People have been wanting a new healer for ages, so they can add more ways to play the game, make supports in Overwatch a bit more dynamic.
Okay.
When I saw her, I instantly thought about Zenyatta and his kind of heavy damage playstyle.
Okay.
Dealing a lot of damage with the Zen Orbs. But she has like an ultimate beam that heals people and damages enemies, which is really cool.
So it's like either a damage ultimate or a healing ultimate.
It does both.
Yeah, so I mean, like you could be, say you could have it at one point, like, I just need to heal all these people, or I can heal, or I can destroy, do a lot of damage, or I can do a little bit of both.
So she has short range healing options. Biotic Grasp is short range healing options. Biotic Orbs contribute longer range, hands off damage and healing. She can also fade to escape groups or remain close to allies in need of support. Once she's charged, Coalescence Moria can save multiple allies for elimination at once or finish them off to weaken enemies. So she has a massive beam that can heal or deal damage.
Yeah.
So her abilities are Biotic Grasp. Moria uses her bare hands to siphon enemy health and deal damage on a right click, or to heal her allies left click. So the DK right click is Moria's main DPS ability. Similar fashion to Regeneration, it deals damage to enemies it strikes. She also has Biotic Orb, which is a energy orb. It's launched into the room before her. The orb bounces off walls and ceilings and comes in Regeneration and Decay. Biotic Orb works great in cramped quarters and indoors. So the right hand is a dark ball of energy when it strikes with tendrils of power, and then the Regeneration one, it heals allies in small areas.
Okay.
So it's kind of this choice between healing and damage.
Yeah.
She also has a Fade ability. Fade increases her speed immensely for a few seconds, causing her to disappear and reappear when the ability ends. And then, of course, she has her ultimate Coalescence, which she shoots a long beam from both hands, combining her healing and damage powers into one.
Yeah, so all the other ones that you have to choose, but then the last ultimate is...
And then the last one is the combination of the two. So here's her ability shown off at BlizzCon. So there's the Regeneration, the Bionic Grasp, and then there's the Decay, which is the damage dealing one. There's the Fade. There's the biotic regeneration orb. There's the... Because she has prompts for heal and decay. There's a decay orb. And there's the new character coming. And I'm really excited to see a new support in Overwatch. It's going to be really cool.
What other supports are there? Is it just like 3 of them or something?
No, there's more than 3.
Okay. I
There
can
is,
only think of 3.
there is Zenyatta.
Yeah.
There is Mercy.
Yeah.
There is Anna, which she has like a healing sniper.
Okay.
That she wants to send people to sleep.
Okay.
There is Symmetria.
Okay.
She makes like shields and turrets and teleporters.
Right.
And I think there's one more. I'm not thinking. Overwatch supports. There's one I'm not thinking of. Oh, Lucio. Lucio is a really cool one. I love
Is he a
Lucio.
support, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he goes from sending out AoE heals to AoE speed buffs. I think Lucio is my favourite support. He's really cool.
Is he?
Yeah, because he's all about moving around really fast and disrupting enemies and healing and speeding up everyone. But yeah, there's a brand new support. So there's a brand new support playstyle, which is moving between damage and healing. And we all know from solo queue, no one is going to be using healing on Moria. And no one's going to be at the payload.
When it first comes out, yeah.
No, never.
Oh, never. Okay.
No one's ever going to use the payload. No one's ever going to use their healing abilities.
Unless they accidentally do it on their ultimate.
So there's a new Reinhardt cinematic as well. It's really good. I'd recommend you watch it. It's probably my favourite so far.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's my favourite so far. I still really like the what's the one, the Bastion in the Woods one?
Oh, the Last Bastion.
I really
Have
like
you
that.
seen the May one? The May?
No, I have not seen that one.
That one's good as well. There's a new They didn't announce anything about Diablo at BlizzCon. They were not in the opening thing. They were just kind of went over the art of doing the Necromancer. But there's a brand new season of Diablo launching, season 12. There's new wings. There's new Haedric gifts. There's a new border. So if you like Diablo, you want to check out the new season, that's really cool. I've been playing the new season. I haven't played it since they released the Necromancer. So there's a couple of quality of life changes and stuff they've added. So they added the fact that you don't need to pay to remove gems from helmets and stuff, and other pieces of gear. There's like really small improvements like that they've added. You no longer carry mats in your inventory. You carry them in a separate material bag. There's now a new challenge rift. So every week they take a random player from the leaderboard and they give you their exact character with their exact gear, and you have to try and complete the rift quicker than they did to unlock some gold and some materials and stuff for your character, which is really fun.
It's pretty cool.
And that's cool. Diablo's a dead game though.
Is it?
It's not dead, but Blizzard kind of hasn't really done anything since the Necromancer pack. There was nothing announced at BlizzCon.
No story stuff. Okay.
We'll talk about Heroes of the Storm quickly, and then we'll finish the podcast because I think we're coming up to time.
I think it's a good place.
There was a new cool cinematic showing off the new characters: Alex Straza, the new support from World of Warcraft, the Lifebinder dragon from Warcraft, and Hanzo from Overwatch, the guy who's never on the point. So
is Hanzo never on the point?
No, because he's a sniper.
Okay.
So Hanzo and Hanzo will launch by the end of the year, and Alex Straza will launch soon after BlizzCon. That was announced. Alex Straza will heal allies by giving them her own HP as a gift for life, which is interesting. She can also transform into a dragon form.
Did you have a lot of health to be able to do giving health
I guess.
away?
She probably has like health regen abilities.
Okay.
She can transform into an immense dragon form, the first hero able to do so, and her fire breath in dragon form damages her enemies, and it heals allies at the same time, so it's almost kind of similar to Moria from Overwatch. One of the most interesting things I saw was that they are adding performance-based matchmaking to Heroes of the Storm. So instead of making it based on a win-loss kind of idea, that if you win a game, you go up in the rating, and if you lose a game, you go down. It's now based on your individual performance. So that's pretty cool. There's a new camera, so you can zoom out more. They're adding voice chat to the game, which is always a big thing when a MOBA adds voice chat, because not a lot of them have them. There's laning improvements to focus more on early lane impact. They're removing ammo from turrets, which is quite a big thing, because that was always something that I thought was interesting about Heroes of the Storm, was they had an ammo-based system in their turrets.
Right. So what? This is going to continuously fire all the time, or?
Yeah. They want to make the game go quicker, so they're going to make turrets continuously fire, not be based on an ammo system. There's a stealth rework coming, and this is all coming in one big Heroes of the Storm update, which will probably come around the same time as Alexstrasza and then Hanzo afterwards as well. So that's cool. It's cool that they announced this at BlizzCon. They showed Alexstrasza, who's the dragon champion from Warcraft. She's one of the dragon aspects of life, and Hanzo, who's the dragon sniper from Overwatch, and they kind of tied those two together in terms of their dragon lore.
I realised it was the Year of the Dragon.
I think Dragon Lore's the name of a really expensive sniper in CSGO.
Is it?
I think so. Anyway.
Is it the Chinese New Year of the Dragon, though, is my question.
I don't know. When is Chinese New Year?
Like late January, early February time?
Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, shall we end the podcast?
Well, we need a...
There's not time for Tony's wish list. We'll have to go into that in depth next week.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll read the Petermolyeux tweet for this week, which is: everyone this year seems to be praising Zelda and Mario for encouraging curiosity. I made a game about curiosity before it was cool. And Peter did, and we got a picture of Curiosity here. Yeah, oh, wait a minute. That's the Curiosity rover from Mars. They had to change the name confusing. Let's change the name from Curiosity to Curiosity What's in the Cube, I think. And I just wanted to watch this video quickly because it's so funny seeing Peter announce the video wherever the hell he is in this video.
End of Curiosity.
He's in a green screen warehouse.
He's in the cube.
Yeah, he's the prize.
And we have been
I have to get some transformative pieces. Wait, I still have the Blizzard thing on the screen the whole time. Oh my god.
Experiment. And that's exactly what it was. An experiment.
We were talking about Blizzard.
Did we take the simplest possible conceivable
You need 3 screens, Joe.
That's
what I'm getting from this.
Them to attack on this massive cube.
Can we not... Do you not have a tablet to put like the
a tablet?
The Google Docs on?
In the center.
I can. I have a... No, I don't have a tablet. I have a phone.
Obviously, it doesn't help you with like getting the links from there, but...
And I said, and I'm known for these things...
It's always good to end it with a nice little bit of Peter.
Well, this is what this video is about.
Anyway. Fuck off, Blizzard Lake. That's been on the whole time. Shit.
Only for the last 40 minutes or something.
Right, you can check us out on vid.me/inbetweenpodcast. You can check us out on youtube.com /everythinginbetweenpodcast, and you can check me out on Twitter @Scorn2000. That is the end of the podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.